John Smith, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Good. Okay, Great Lakes. Let's tell us about that. Where are you with that? I mean, that's album number 4, really, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So you did that in a chapel, a converted chapel.
Yeah.
Are you one of these people who say, well, I have to do something really special for my 4th album? Like get a kind of a Aleister Crowley house like Radiohead or Led Zeppelin or something. I need somewhere different.
No, I just don't have any money, so I make do. Essentially, I mean, I'd love to go and record in somewhere like Real World or something, but you know, I know the guy who runs this converted church up in Wales, and he did me a good deal.
And what is it? Is there something about the ambience, or is that like, oh, forget like the stone walls and all that kind of thing? Does it help?
It really does. I mean, I like recording somewhere where it's very cool, you know, and a place like that is very naturally. There's little breezes, and it feels like air's been blowing through there for a long time. It's conducive to making music, I think.
And what do you look for when you do that? Is it kind of a sparse sound that you're looking for and you get there, something like that? Or do you know exactly what it is you're going to do before you even go in?
I did with this one, yeah. I just knew it was going to sound good, so I went in and, you know, I had the idea that it would sound like a really tight... I was referencing a lot of my favourite albums from the 70s, like Ry Cooder records and Paul Simon records that have this very distinct sound, and I wanted to get that tight drum sound, big woolly bass sound, and then me right in the front singing like this far from your face, you know.
Okay, you've said those two, so I'm going to ask you about those two. Paul Simon, first of all. Would you agree with me that Paul Simon never needed Art Garfunkel? He writes everything, he plays all the stuff, he knows exactly what he's doing, he knows about a studio, and he's got a great voice.
Well, you know, with no wish to denigrate Mr. Garfunkel, my favourite Paul Simon work happened after Simon and Garfunkel.
Right, well that kind of answers that question. And Ry Cooder, which Ry Cooder? Wait a minute, Paradise and Lunch, Into the Purple Valley?
I mean, I love all of them, but the one I grew up with was Bop Till You Drop.
Oh, well, Bop Till You Drop.
And I've worked my way backwards, and I get stuck on a different one for a few months at a time.
Bop Till You Drop starts off with Little Sister, but it ends with a song called I Can't Win. You know that song?
Beautiful.
It's one of the most beautiful songs you've ever heard in your life.
It really is, yeah.
That should have been recorded in a church.
Oh man, well, it's just such a perfect piece of writing. I think you could record it, you know, in a pigsty. It sounds amazing.
It's true. Okay, now John Smith, how do you regard yourself? Is it really a guitar player more than anything, or a certain type of musician, or is it a John Martin type? Where do you see yourself?
I've always just been a rhythm guitar player, really, and then I started writing songs, and now I suppose there's this broad singer-songwriter term, which I imagine I'm described like that a lot, but I mostly just play the guitar, and I arrange a lot of things, you know, like arrange strings and whatnot. So I just try and stay on it as a musician.
Because I mentioned John Martin there, and I presume you must be a fan in some ways. I'm sure it was a privilege to have been asked to do a song for his album, for the John Martin tribute thing. So what was it? Because there's something about him too. He's not just a guy who ever sat there with a guitar.
Yeah.
The atmospherics that he gets in his recordings, like Solid Air and stuff like that.
Yeah. They're incredible, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like, would you ever sort of say, I want to emulate that?
No. I think it's dangerous to emulate people. I mean, I toured with John for a couple of years and was kind of overwhelmed by his personality. But, you know,
that's a euphemism for he's bonkers.
Yeah, I mean,
John's out there, always was.
He was beautiful and crazy, but people have a lot, ever since I started playing and singing, people have said, "Oh, you sound like John Martin." It's a compliment, but I certainly have never tried to emulate the guy, because he was making his most significant works, you know, 30 plus years ago. So
there's the second time you've referenced the 70s. Is there something about the idea of one person making music in the 70s that wasn't maybe there in the 80s and 90s, and that's the kind of thing that you just like the best? I mean, even like the Canyons of California stuff of Neil Young and all those people, that one person, Jackson Browne, that kind of thing. Is that what you like?
Yeah, I guess so. That's part of what I really like.
And is that because you grew up listening to that stuff? Or you went back to listen to it?
Well, I grew up listening to that and to classical music. So I'm kind of equal parts into both, I guess. Okay,
you are John Smith solo, but there's other people who have to get involved now and again and you get inspiration from. You've mentioned musicians there, from John Martin to Paul Simon to whoever, Ry Cooder. But what about two names that I don't know? You were in Canada at one stage and you met some guys are they musicians? They are?
Yeah, there's a Canadian songwriter called Dennis Ellsworth, who I hooked up with. Spent some time with Doug Paisley, the singer and guitar player, who's incredible. He comes to Ireland sometimes. You should check him out.
And what do they bring to you? What do you get from them?
Well, Dennis and I co-wrote some songs, actually. And yeah, for me, that just brings a sort of new it's new colours into the palette, as it were. You know, because I'm not a very frequent or skilled songwriter. I write them whenever they appear and present themselves. I'm useless at sitting and digging for them with my pen, as Seamus Heaney would have had it.
Indeed.
I'm a horrible, lazy songwriter. So it was great having someone else to say, here are some bits. You know, you can do something with these.
And what about other people, like musicians that you have collaborated with? For instance, like, I know you probably didn't play, I'm not sure, with Richard Hawley, but you did tour with him.
Yeah.
Now, Richard Hawley is the kind of guy who, you know, he was in a bunch of bands, including, what do you call them?
The Long Pigs.
Yeah, but the next one I was thinking
Pulp.
of. Oh yeah, Pulp.
Yeah.
He was in Pulp and Long Pigs.
Yeah.
And then he goes solo with a bunch of albums.
Yeah.
And they're just like, they're things of great beauty.
Yes.
And like, he's this kind of, I don't know, kind of a street punky, kind of like a mod rocker from the 50s kind of guy.
Yeah.
Almost. Do you learn anything from him when you're with him for a while?
Well, we did a bit of playing after gigs and things, and I mean, I'd hang out with him every now and again, and he's just a lovely fellow. I mean, I think what I've learned from him is not to. He told me a great piece of advice he gave me was just don't look back. If you're going to create something, then keep your eye on the road ahead, and that's a really strong piece of advice, and very significant, I think, and germane to his career, because he is always moving forward. And he and I are touring again actually in October. We're touring the UK as part with the Watersons for this Bright Phoebus tour that they're doing.
All right.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Because all that stuff, he's very much rooted in where he's from, which is Sheffield, etc., and even like Standing at the Sky's Edge, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Now, you, Devon, can I take any Devon out of you, or would I even know?
No, mate. I was born in Essex, and I grew up in Devon, but then I've spent as much of my life in Liverpool, where I live now. So
actually, as we speak, Liverpool are playing Manchester United. Sturridge scored after 3 minutes, but I don't know what the score is now.
Nothing to do with me. That's
Are you not a football fan?
No, that's a shirt that looks good on other people, but I don't wear it myself.
Oh, right. By the way, you said don't look back earlier on. Does Bob Dylan ever come into? Like, I know that in the past you listened to everything from Led Zeppelin to Paul Simon's music, but Bob Dylan was there too, wasn't he?
I've been getting into Bob Dylan in the last year. I never really listened to him before then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my friend Joe Henry has been ramming Bob Dylan down my neck, and I'm really enjoying it.
What slice of Bob Dylan? What place? What time?
I think I'm up to Highway 61 now.
Wow, you've a treat in store. So that's 66. You've another 40 years to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads. Okay.
I've been enjoying Time Out of Mind as well. I've been darting around.
Oh yeah, Time Out of Mind's great.
Fabulous
The 97 album, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's the one with Brownsville Girl. 17 minutes long. You don't have any 17-minute tracks, do you?
I got plenty on cassettes and things from demos, but none that will ever see the light of day, I'm afraid.
Yeah. When you put yourself down there, slightly denigrating yourself as a songwriter, what do you mean? Like, you don't think you're a great songwriter? Is that it?
No, by no.
Do you find it difficult?
By no stretch, I find it very difficult. Yeah, and there are songwriters who I admire, and I would love to be able to write at that level. So I'm working at it. You know, I don't think you can do anything without working at it.
Well, how do you recruit musicians? What do you look for when you get? Are you looking for something that is much more real and straightforward in one take, less overdubs, that kind of person?
Yeah, I produced Great Lakes and insisted that we only play each song 3 or 4 times, and that's what we did.
And what was the difference then between Great Lakes, Eavesdropping, and the two before that? I mean, is it always a progression, or sometimes is it a side road?
Spontaneous. I just got really great musicians and gave them a map of the song, and we took it from there. But I brought in people who would be able to improvise, and I brought in the great Irish drummer Ross Turner and the English bass player John Thorne, who used to play with Lamb. He's a very heavy and rich jazz player, you know. So he came in, and the two of them were just sparked off each other instantly. It was amazing to behold.
What do you naturally go to? Do you go to like a steel string, acoustic, slide? What is it?
An acoustic with steel strings.
Really?
Yeah, that's my thing.
And is that how you write? Do you write on the guitar?
Yeah.
And do you sit in a garret like at 9 o'clock in the morning? I better start writing some songs, or are you that kind of person?
No. I all I'm good for at 9 a.m. is sleep usually. I will wait. I try to wait until it starts raining for a few weeks, and then I'll start writing. I don't like to be writing when it's nice outside and there's places to go, because I spend most of my time driving to gigs.
Right.
Try and wait till I've got some time to hunker down, you know.
And Great Lakes, I know it's only now, but I mean, album number 5, is there any thoughts about it, any changes, any?
A lot of thoughts, yeah. I'm building a studio at the moment. Do
people still build studios?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure, your Pro Tools and stuff, or Porta Studio, £5 you can rent them for an hour.
I'm turning my attic into a studio, and it's taking a lot longer than I originally thought. But when I've got that up and running, I'm going to start working on the new record.
Finally, the rise of technology, if you like, or the proliferation of it, or the fact that it's taken over so much in so much of what goes on. Do you let that come in on you in any way at all, or do you just try and avoid it because you'd rather be pure?
Oh, well, I own a laptop. You know,
wow, how futuristic!
I know, it's incredible. I make all my, I do all my demoing and recording on a computer.
Yeah.
I mean, are we talking like social media and stuff like that?
Everything.
Yeah, I'm really I'm wary of social media just because I really the only interesting stuff I think I have to say I kind of try and put in a song. So I don't really want people just to listen to me banging on about what I think of the day. So
sure, but it is a great way to let people know about gigs. Believe it or not, just go on Twitter.
It is.
And just,
That's all I do. So
Yeah.
I think people probably just think, all I care about is my gigs. I care about lots of other stuff, but I don't really feel like everyone wants to hear it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm trying to find a balance between like banging on all the time and holding some things back.
Okay, I'll tell you, you are playing today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've asked every single person this over the weekend. They have to refer to a piece of paper. Where are you playing? What time? What's the name of the stage?
Body and Soul Stage, 7 p.m.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Wow! Top of the class.
Yeah, man.
John, thank you very much. Good
Real
man yourself.
pleasure.
Good
Thank you
luck
very
with Great
much.
Lakes as well. Thanks
Cheers,
a million.
mate.